2 seconds.
All right, second by Mr. Skinner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
First, I will say that yesterday I met with Mike to sign the orders because he has a meeting with the hospital at 9:15, so we knew we were not going to have him very long. All of them were signed except for one that had a typographical error. So that was corrected, and I signed that one today, and they're in groups of the ones that had letters returned, the ones that did not have letters returned, the ones that were like special cases. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Want to make sure. And we've given you a copy of the last one that I just signed. So we have the originals on file here, and each of you has a copy of the orders. So, now do we need to go to the subpoena?
If you don't, yeah, if you don't mind, and I do have to leave at 9:15.
Yes, I know.
So I will kind of go quick. I had a few things here as a kind of a list, and you've already mentioned some. The orders are signed. Melissa and I will be preparing the notice of hearings. I believe that Kelly is chipping in and doing the letters and the labels. And basically, we're going to try to do a uniform notice of hearing as possible. The statute says you've got to, of course, give them 10 days notice. I like to give another 3 days for mail. So we're going to try to get those out by next Wednesday. You have to succinctly state the grounds, and so most of these are right to remain registered. Nearly all of them, I think. There's a couple of deceased and a couple of things like that. So that's going to be the grounds. And Melissa, I've got a star here, so you can help me out. Make sure we also have to send notice to the political chairs. Of course, Mr. Gilbert is the Republican chair, as far as that's still correct. Okay, so that should be covered there. We'll send him notice. And David Boone, Democratic chair. Okay. I'm just looking through my notes here. I don't want to miss anything. Going back to the notice and the list, we're going to send the best we can notice to physical as well as mailing address, if we can get all those. Let's see. I don't have this on me now, but I know David's got a copy. Don Wright's flow chart for these challenges is helpful to have. Checklist. Okay. We are not planning on having a court reporter. However, I think Betsy's probably going to record it, and we're going to record it. And if some of them are appealed, there'll be somebody have to pay for somebody to transcribe.
And this is as an innocent party to this.
Right. Not as the petitioner.
Not as the petitioner.
Okay. Yes.
There's a possibility we will provide a court reporter.
Okay. Okay.
But in the event of a transcript, it'll be purchased through us.
Okay. Thank you. That's good to know. As the chair mentioned, the subpoena list that Mr. Gilbert has sent, and I've got it. I just saw it this morning on my email. Mark Thomas Scheid, 200 Rachel Drive is somebody being proposed. Angela Norma Burke is the second person. Mr. Anthony Brown, he was Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs at Elizabeth State University. And Mr. Don Wright, of course everybody knows, is the State Board of Elections attorney. The letter says we reserve the right to call additional witnesses if necessary. Okay, so that is the list.
Can I ask something before you go any further?
You may.
So how soon would they have to give us additional witnesses so we could serve on the subpoena? Is there any deadline for that?
You know, technically a subpoena can be served in the morning. We don't like to do that, but obviously when we get Mr. Gilbert on the phone, the sooner the better.
Are you still meeting on the first Tuesday, or do you meet next week?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that would be the last date that we would.
Okay. I know a little bit about Mr. Scheid. I believe he is...
He's the owner of 207 Meadowlark.
Okay, okay. And then there's Angela Burke.
She resides there.
Okay.
She rents.
Okay. Mr. Brown, Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs. And the one I questioned was subpoenaing Don Wright, and I'll be glad to talk to Mr. Gilbert about that if he wants to. Just kind of, I don't think he would be relevant to these 60 challenges. Understanding he knows the law, but I just don't think he's relevant.
He's relevant to one challenge.
And I guess we can ask Mr. Gilbert this: a subpoena, if Mr. Wright is subpoenaed, the petitioner would be the one paying for his travel expenses, etc. That's on the subpoena form. I don't know if that's something he's willing to.
Okay. I'd give us until Tuesday, but that may not be a problem.
Okay.
But basically, we're just responsible. Now, let me question this as a observer. Mr. Wright is the staff attorney.
Correct.
Okay. He represents this board and the voters of North Carolina. Is there no reason he shouldn't be here if needed?
I would think I represent this board, but I think he's a state board. But
he's the go-to person for this board.
He does it by his son correctly.
Okay.
That's correct.
He wrote the information on residency and the flow chart that's used in these challenges.
Yeah.
And I frankly think that interested parties can come up with the money to pay for that. But I think as a state taxpayer, and also that he is paid by tax funds as representative of actually looking out for this board, that should come under state.
And he does, when I say he provides assistance, he'll provide general guidelines. He doesn't get into the facts of each case. I mean, like flow charts, he'll give us that.
And we're not asking for him to get in the facts
Right.
of each case. It's
Right.
going to be a very specific. And I'll be glad to get Pete Gilbert on the phone if you want at this point. But
personally, I'm fine if he can make it Tuesday. I'd kind of like to hear a little bit more from him. I mean,
now, he may go back to work Tuesday, and again, he works in Virginia right now. He's
Well,
home.
can we call him and ask him what relevance he is
that's
stating
fair.
for
That's fair.
subpoenaing Mr.
And I would like to point out
Wright.
that when I served on this board, we never, I don't recall asking anyone's relevance. If anything, he's more relevant than anyone on this list for one particular case. And that's the child who lives on campus, or the student who lives on campus. And again, we're going to have video of Gary Bartlett that's, I can promise you, we've never heard before. And we need someone who knows the residency law to either verify what Bartlett said in front of the legislature.
but that's not dealing with these 60 people
It's
here.
dealing with one of them in
Yeah.
particular. It's one of them.
But Gary's comments to the General Assembly
Was about the law.
but they can't change. We have to go by what's in place now. Lloyd
We
v.
have to
Babb
go-
in those cases.
And that way he was relating to Lloyd v. Babb.
Right.
But this board never hears about Lloyd v. Babb when they go to training.
Well, there's several cases, and I
I understand. I'll be glad to get him on the phone now.
If you need to give him a heads up outside of the room, I
No,
understand.
I've already done that. Let
Okay.
him know what was coming up. Hey, Pete, you're on in the open meeting. Okay, and the press is here. And we like you. Let me put you on speakerphone here. Okay, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Hey Pete, it's Michelle Idlet. Sorry you're feeling under the weather this morning. Our question is about one of the people you want to subpoena, Don Wright, the attorney for the state board. And I guess our question is, what is his relevance to your challenges?
The relevance is the fact that he is established, or his, I don't know, what did we call it, his treatise, or his, he's the guy that has established the position the Board of Election has taken in relation to the residency rules for on-campus students.
have a?
Pete, this is Mike here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, I'm the attorney for the board. You guys do a good job of presenting the cases and the petitions. And, I frankly don't think Don is needed. The case law is the case law. We don't go by treatises. I mean, that they're help, they're training materials. But when it comes down to it, what's in the case law is what we have to go by. And there is a, rule in the rules of civil procedure with subpoenas that you are obligated to pay for the travel expenses if Mr. Wright has to travel here. I just want you to be aware of that also. What was that last part?
Mr. Wright is a state employee. As a state employee, it's been his job to give the position for the state board of election. And Mike, you have worn me out with Don Wright's positions over the last 3 years.
Well, I would disagree with that, Pete, respectfully, but
I've heard nothing but Don Wright this, Don Wright that for 3 years. So I want him there to clarify and to be specific to what the rules are and the requirements for on-campus residents. He is the expert for the state. He's there to protect the voters of Pasquotank County and the board. It's not the board's job to protect him. It's his job to protect the board and the voters of Pasquotank County.
well, Pete, I will disagree with some of your characterizations, and that's, I'm not going to get into an argument about it, but I'll just disagree. It's up to the board whether they want to issue the subpoena. If things are appealed, and you guys, if the board does subpoena him, great. If they don't, then that's something you can use as an appellate measure, and we'll kind of go from there.
Can I interject something? Just as a former board member who served, Mr. Gilbert challenged students back after the municipal election in 2007. I think he challenged about 16 students. At that time, we had it at night. Bob Hall from Democracy North Carolina attended. We had representatives from the NAACP there. We got no guidance from the state board, which if they had told us where to look for information, they did not. We didn't learn about the 4 prongs until the residency challenge in 2008. But they didn't tell us where to go to look for the information. They let us fly alone as a board. And at that time, the same arguments that will be used in these challenges could have been used in 2007. And the state board has never given us any direction or training on it. And it's time for them to go on the record about it. And Mike, if you would find out what his travel expenses would be, what they were to expect, and if it comes down to it and the state won't pay it, we'll be yelling loudly, but I think we can probably find some money to bring him here.
Okay.
Mr. Skinner,
I'll
do you
contact
have any questions about any of these people who are being subpoenaed or want to be subpoenaed?
No, not with the exception of appointed
Mr. Wright?
Mr. Cox made, Attorney Cox made. But the rest of them, I don't see any problem with them. They're all local.
Mr. Only?
I think all 3 of the locals should be here, and also Don Wright.
I'll tell you what I'll do in the meantime is touch base with Mr. Wright and find out if his expenses are here, and get his feelings. And I mean, I know if he subpoenaed it's his, he doesn't have an option, but I'm just going to get an idea what his expenses are.
And I would propose that he would just be here for the Thursday. I spoke to Mike the other day that what we would like to do, everyone subpoenaed, what we would recommend doing is having those cases heard first. So they're not...
For anybody who shows up.
Right, for anyone who shows up, they get priority.
That's fine. That's a good idea. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, can we make the motion to accept the 3 local people and wait till we get input before, since we are meeting next Tuesday? That would still give us plenty of time to... Mike, what do you...
I'm fine with that, yeah.
I would prefer a motion today, so we need to know if we're going to have to pay. But I prefer the subpoena today. As a bystander, I think this board should go ahead and make the decision today.
I agree.
We forgot you were there, Pete.
Well,
I heard that, Pete. Mr.
well, my,
I'd like the board to take a position.
well, you know, as a board, I think we should listen to the advice of our attorney and proceed from there.
And I'll,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mike, are you acting as Don Wright's attorney or the board's attorney?
I'm acting as the board's attorney.
Okay, so why is this discussion about protecting Don Wright?
It's about relevancy, Pete. I just don't think, and look, you guys do a good job at what you do. The challenges that you brought in November were very good. You know, you've obviously got probable cause and have done a good job thus far on these 60 plus. There's just a relevancy issue, and I know that there's a political issue going on as well. And I don't want to drag this into the political realm. I want this to be about these 60 people.
It's about one voter. It's not about the other 59.
I mean, I think we got time by Tuesday. That's my recommendation, so you can throw the darts at me.
Well, true, but
Yeah.
every time I have to come back, I'm not working. Pete works in Virginia. We're not getting paid to do this. We're doing it on a volunteer basis. I could be at my job right now.
I could be delivering Easter eggs right now.
Yeah, but you're getting paid.
If I was there, I could be eating the Easter egg.
I heard
She
that.
didn't bring them in, Pete.
I thought you're not supposed to have all that sugar, Pete. So I guess I'm the swing person.
Sounds like it, yep.
So what else is new?
Yeah.
I think as a board, we need to listen to our attorney, but I do think that if we think that Mr. Wright needs to come, we are not protecting him. That is not our goal whatsoever. And I think if Mike can get more information for you all,
I mean, I'll call him, ask him, hey, you know, what's the expense, and do you mind if it's the Thursday, the 18th is what we're talking about.
But we're not calling Mr. Scheid and asking him, and we're not calling...
I just think there's a difference. You know.
No, we're all the same in this. We're all voters, okay? But he's the only one who should be here, frankly. He's paid by the state to look out for us, period. These other people, he's going to get paid to be here. These other people are leaving their jobs. They might have to take vacation. It might be a real inconvenience for them to be here. For him, it's part of a day's work.
I don't think he's relevant, but we're disagreeing.
But true, but it's for us to prove that it's relevant. And we can't do it if he's not here.
I agree with that. I don't think he's got actual knowledge or facts of any of these cases. A witness
doesn't.
needs to be able to relate.
But
the
he
facts.
can apply the law to this case.
But I'm the lawyer. I mean, you know, that's.
And you've been a good one.
Well,
and
thank
you've
you.
been a good one. But
Can you call Mr. Kitchen when this is over? Please tell him after last night. He told me last night I wasn't the best. That's what I.
you know what? I'll be glad to.
Yeah.
I've had a round with him myself before.
Yeah, I've had a few too.
I don't particularly like the way he talks to people.
okay,
Well, yeah.
I would,
And Mike, you have done wonders for us.
Well, thank.
But this is out of your realm, okay? You're here to protect Pasquotank County's interest in this
And
board.
I just make a recommendation.
And
I advise
Don
to make a
is here to represent the state's the election law.
Right.
And it is two totally different tiers.
Right.
all right, at this time, I will entertain a motion of who to subpoena at this time.
I make the motion that we subpoena the 3 people and exclude Don Wright.
Can
At
you
this
please
time.
state their names?
What's this first?
Scheid.
Scheid.
I think it's Scheid.
Scheid. Okay.
Anthony Brown and Norma Burke. Oh, Angela Burke. Angela Norma Burke. I'm sorry, I got my glasses on.
I second the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay. Now I'll touch base with Mr. Wright in the meantime and see what he says.
And we will address this at our meeting on Tuesday.
And I'd also like to point out that you're not calling the other people and saying, hey, is it okay with you?
Well, I think you said you got a homeowner or tenant. I know what ECU's relevant for. We're not going to agree on this one. I just don't see
And it's
it
true,
as relevant.
and it's okay to disagree.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So you all will take care of handling the subpoenas. Your office does that. Melissa, you
Correct.
do that? Thank you.
I need phone numbers for these people.
I know at least Mr. Brown we could get on the website.
You should be able to get his office number off the website, off the staff website on ECSU. I'm sure he's probably in the main building out there.
Yeah.
It's ecsu.edu.
I can attempt to get the numbers for the other two if they're registered, but well, one of them I guess is one question. But I will attempt to get them.
She's not in
currently lives
question.
there.
She lives
Okay.
there.
Well, I
It's
can
one
look
of
them up
the-
and see if I have numbers for them.
Okay.
I might not.
Okay.
I'll try to help you with that.
Okay, is there anything else we need to address?
I would like, and I don't know how or where or who, to get a more current update of the residents of 1704. You know, the dorm room, the list that we use to check by, because the one we've got now is August. I'd like to have something current.
I'd also like to note that the list that we've got now is state defined. From the, let's see, where did I say that? Or where did I see it? Excuse me. If you'll look on this list, it's
We don't have that.
No, we don't have that.
from 8/19/2012 to 12/15/2012. These lists are only good for one semester and one semester only. So any new ones, basically it's not up to this board to prove where they live now. It's where they were living in November. That's what's being challenged.
But if they come in and they're there now, then they need to change it, or it is good now. I know, understand your point.
Right,
100%.
right, okay.
Yeah.
I think our only reason to get is what Mike says. If somebody comes in and says, now I am a resident on campus, we could check that list
Okay.
and see if they really were or not. And I don't mind calling over there and see if they will work with us on this.
I believe it's public record.
Sure, I have another question for you while I got you on the phone.
Yes, sir.
The mail that went to the mailing address versus the campus residency, did we resolve that? How did that happen?
That is, where did we find that in the law book, Mike, about sending that?
David's talking to you there, but basically, Pete, the law is that to his registered. I'm gonna pull it up right now and read what's actually in there.
Page 149.
Thank you. To the address of the voter listed in the registration records, and that can be.
Registration record can have multiple addresses.
Yeah,
a mailing, a physical.
We need to go with the most current, obviously, and just to kind of, it's a little bit of overkill, but it's wise, in my opinion, to go ahead and send it to both, to a physical and to a PO. As I mentioned yesterday.
Pardon me?
Did we do that in this case?
We didn't have to. Pete, we did not have to send any notice for the probable cause hearing. That was a courtesy. For the full hearing, that's what our intent is to send it to the physical as well as mailing. I'll go ahead and give you one downside. I can think of that, and I'm recommending it, but it's not perfect, because what if you get one letter returned and one's not, because the law says prima facie evidence that that person's not there. I think it's a risk worth taking, but that is one potential downfall.
Well, my question is this, Mike. Everybody that I'm challenging used 1704 Weeksville Road to vote. Pete Gilbert uses 1643 Penny Drive to vote. If you had to send me a piece of mail, where would you send it to me at?
I would send it to Penny.
Okay, so why didn't we send every piece of mail to 1704?
Pete, let me clarify something because I'm not sure. When we send that, when I'm saying we, it's all we here. When the board sends out voter registration cards, with their voter number on it, does that go to the mailing address or to the residency address?
Residency address, I believe. I mean, excuse me, mailing address, I believe.
If
I can't swear to that, but
can if we verify that, and it may be in the law, I don't know. Pete, my gut feeling is if the if the cards that they send out, the first class postcards they send out with a voter ID number on it, goes to the mailing address, I think it's a moot point. If it only goes to the registration address, I think that's where these need to go.
And I'm saying both.
I don't disagree. I guess I'm trying to figure out how you can have a mailing address where you get your mail.
It's my understanding there's people who live here that use a New York mailing address, so.
I'm sorry? I get my mail where I live.
Well,
I mean, the board doesn't even get our mail where we live. We have a post office box. So, I mean, that's kind of...
I think
Yeah,
it would be
we don't
safe.
get our mail.
I think it would be safe to go by, but you're not voters. I think it would be safe to go by whatever you use for the registration cards.
I will tell you, Michelle, Miss Howlett gets her mail, her personal mail, not her chairman of the Pasquotank Board of Election mail, but she gets Michelle Howlett's mail at Michelle Howlett's house.
Yeah, but everybody who gets mail at their house doesn't. Because, I mean, my nephew doesn't get his mail at his house. He gets it at a post office box. So that... I guess we need to...
That's probably the one that's on the list that says he doesn't have a driver's license.
So how's he driving to the post office? So, do we need...
I have a case. All of my business mail goes.
But businesses don't vote.
Well, I'm saying all of the mail that I have from businesses that are trying to contact me, it goes to my mailbox. And I started that years ago when I was living in the apartment because there's times you might not get your mail. Because
And
they put
again,
it in the wrong
I would
box
be
and somebody
curious
don't know you.
because I don't know because we didn't do the hands-on things. I don't know where Kelly, you might know.
Do you know where which address the registration cards are sent to?
The verification cards are sent to the mailing address.
To the mailing. So if they have a PO box, that's where it goes. Okay, I think it's a moot point, Pete, because they do send the registration cards there. Thank you.
Melissa brought up a point about who pays for the subpoenas, and I guess the sheriff doesn't comp those for us, do they? I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Is it 15 a subpoena? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. I haven't had to pay for one lately.
Can you check on one, please? Yeah, because we do it for DSS in the county. There were.
You may go call.
We can get it. I gotta leave, and I need to be walking out the
Pardon
door in
me?
5 minutes.
I'm trying to figure out what do I pay taxes for? I have to pay for them to subpoena.
Is he expected to pay for the subpoenas too? We've
Uh,
never done that
I don't
before.
think we've ever done
Well,
that.
that's I don't know. That's what I was asking Melissa if it's
We've
been
never-
comped or what. I don't know. I mean,
Oh.
we'll find out.
I don't think we've ever done that before. I don't
Our
think
board
we've ever
hasn't.
charged-
I'll put it that way.
I've never seen us get a bill for that, so I don't know what they do with that. Maybe because we're a county entity, they help us out.
That might be.
Okay,
Yeah.
that might
That
what
could be it.
Yeah.
Because y'all are doing it on behalf
I don't
of
ever remember
them.
seeing a bill. I mean, we've subpoenaed stuff from Raleigh and everywhere else in the world. Yeah.
I don't remember
Driving
seeing
records.
a bill for that.
Not done right. And that was relevant. All right, I'm on a countdown. I need to roll, but I've gone through my list, and I think we've covered everything. I can't think of anything else. And we're coming back Tuesday at what time?
Our regular meeting time's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, I love 8 o'clock meetings. Isn't it? John and I were hanging out last night till about 9 out in Newland. So yeah.
Yeah, what an exciting time it was.
It was.
How many people showed up?
8 o'clock.
32,
Your guess
not
is
counting
about
staff
30.
and commissioners. Yeah,
county staff and commissioners.
not counting.
Oh, not,
No.
Yeah, not counting, yeah.
All right.
it's not bad.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
At 9:09. 9-0.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
I
Mike.
got to run, thank
Talk
you.
to, oop, I just hung up on him.
Cut him off.
So you'll work on those.
Thank you, guys.